Okay, let's get right down to this.
Okay.
Michael Tsarion, an Irishman who has the most wonderful accent.
Yes, he does.
Even I like his
I
accent.
think in a different life we were married.
Probably. Okay, so let's bring Michael on the line with us. Michael, hello, and hello again, and hello again, and hello again, because we really miss you. So how are you?
Skip, Sharon. Fine, guys. Skip, Sharon, thanks for the invitation. It's wonderful to hear you and see that you're still working really hard after so long. I don't know where you guys get the energy. I really don't.
Hey, I'm only 69. I know.
That's right.
I only look 40.
Yeah, but we feel 108.
Yeah,
no,
we do.
We're doing good. We're very busy, and like I said, we miss you. Are you ever going to come back to this area on a permanent basis?
Well, yeah, I'm still based in Seattle, so all the traveling is just to get the film material together. We've been working hard on several projects, you see, and they require going over to Ireland of different libraries and checking out some original stuff. In fact, we had to put it on hold as well, but I still continue the studies anyway, because now that we've got our own podcast, there's other ways that I can get this information out, even if other things sort of don't work, say, right?
Right.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Well, the next time you find yourself back here, you give us a call and we'll take you out to dinner.
Oh yeah, at least.
That'd be lovely. Yeah.
I would love to see you again.
I wouldn't even be doing. There's a good chance that I wouldn't even be doing what I'm doing without your guys' help in the days when things were very tight for me. So, again, people don't know that story. So again, it's always a big thanks to you, because when times were really, really tough for me, and this would have been around about 9/11 when it was tough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I remember it being very, very tough professionally, and a lot of other issues. And you guys were my absolute safety net at the time. And we did everything. We did all my talks that I do, and we did all the classes I could muster.
Yeah.
All of it. You hosted it all unbiasedly and openly. And it helped me survive. And then you introduced me to a lot of friends, so I was able to do readings after that as well. So I can't even thank you guys enough for all the help that you give me. And this is in a world where you don't get that kind of help, where people talk a lot and then never deliver.
Yeah.
You guys didn't talk and then delivered straight up, and I can't thank you for that. And Tom West and others as well, did the same.
Bless your
that's
heart.
amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I will pass that on to Tom.
Yeah.
Well, these Irish have memories of an elephant, right? We don't forget who our friends are.
Oh, well, thanks. Can I give our listening audience a brief bio that I could find about you and read this to them for just a quick second?
Go ahead, sure.
Okay.
Love it.
Michael Tsarion, spelled Tsarion. Okay, he was raised in Belfast, Northern Ireland, during the height of what was called the Troubles. Okay. And Michael began his revisionist studies by analyzing subliminal images in pop videos, billboards, magazine ad copies. He also began studying criminology and satanic cults after a spate of bizarre ritualistic murders occurred in Belfast in the mid-1970s. After twice visiting the United States in the early 80s, Michael ventured out into the field to make a close study of Ireland's numerous Cyclopean ruins and megalithic sites. This research proved invaluable and provided him with clear evidence of a hidden hand, so to speak, at work behind academia, religion, and the socio-political world. Now, Michael was brought up by staunchly Marxist parents. Michael became intimately aware of the fraud of socialism at an early age. He was also convinced that the story of the First and Second World Wars had been utterly misconstrued by the media. The calculated destructive of Celtic, Germanic, and Nordic culture remains a central interest for him. So does that pretty well describe your life in your early life, Michael?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was that's from recent times on my website. So it's pretty much an updated bio. Yeah. So absolutely it does. Sure.
And the fact that I'm going to let a little secret out of what you told us. And we were together, was that your grandfather is Tara Singh. And Tara Singh was Punjabi. He was born in 1885, died in 1967. He was part of the partition of India, and he followed Mohandas Gandhi. And he even has a stamp with his
really
image on it.
Wow.
And that played a key role in your, I guess, forming your mind about things and your reasoning. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, if it's the Taurus thing you're talking about, he was close to Nehru, he was close to Gandhi, he traveled extensively throughout the world. He was particularly close to one of my great mentors, J. Krishnamurti, because I grew up in a Krishnamurti and Steiner background, you see. So Tara was sort of in the periphery around that. Now, that doesn't mean that he really understood any of their philosophies, but just as a mere fact of life, he was associated with these people. So if he hadn't have been, then probably, I wouldn't have either found those people till much later, and I wouldn't have had that background. So to that extent, even though I have no contact with any of these family members or whatever, for other reasons, nevertheless, there was tremendous learning curve. My dad being a Marxist, as you say, then learning that, oh my God, this socialism is psychotic. And then on the other side, learning that the certain mystical paths, which ones were true and which ones were false. So absolutely, that background is essential to what I'm doing now.
And speaking of mystical paths, I said that this was my description, that you are a modern day mystic. And the reason I said that, if I looked up the word mystic, just because that's my impression of you, and that's how I feel about you, but a mystic is defined as a person who seeks by contemplation or self-surrender to obtain unity with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or one who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. And that, to me, summarizes, in my opinion, I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but it summarizes my opinion of your works. Your works are incredible, and the broad spectrum that they cover, yet so narrow in definition of each one of them. Your work is amazing.
People should go to his website and check out his stuff. It is amazing.
Read his books. How many books have you written? About 30?
No. There's about 12. There's about 10 or 11, and another one's on its way. And then there's a whole slew of articles on the website as well. So yeah, it's ongoing.
Yeah, that's what it was. The articles.
Yes.
That was the amount.
But what is his website?
Your website. I'll let you say it. I have it here, but well, you go ahead and say it. It's michaeltsarion.com, correct?
Yeah, michaeltsarion.com or MTSAR, MSAR.com for short.
Okay. Cool.
All right. And let's talk about your work. You've made mention of the presentations you did in our store when we had our store, our metaphysical store, and there's other presentations beyond that, but you have several things like the Western magical tradition, the Hermetic arts of divination, Atlantis and prehistoric civilizations, the occult history of Ireland, the Druids and tree worship, astrotheology, subversive symbolism, symbolic literacy, psychic vampirism, Germanophobia, the female Illuminati, the Western mysticism and idealism, and the war on consciousness. And I'm sure you probably have even more than that by now.
Oh, yeah.
But your works, I have to say, when you talked about when we met you and how we tried to support you, I have to say...
we didn't try, we did.
Well, we did, for as much as we could. For both of us, I'm going to say this. We were mesmerized by the knowledge that you talked about and gave out and disseminated to our audiences. And so were they. And you are just, I don't want to say you're like a god, but you're like a god in that field, because the things that you told, and that goes with my definition of mysticism, spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. You look into things beyond the way most people look at them.
Yeah.
Well, I stand on the shoulders of giants. So, but I describe myself, because the definition that you read of mysticism is accurate to a point. But the trouble with that is that some of those definitions could be describing, say, a Gnostic, right? Because there's a broad field, right? I'm not a Gnostic or necessarily religious. So the way I describe myself is as a mystical naturalist.
Oh, and that's good.
Ooh, I like that.
The most like a kind of an Emerson, somebody who's aware that, yes, there's a supernatural tie-in, but there's also the natural tie-in, and that is the Creator has manifested a world around us of which we're deeply and intimately, connected. So I am a mystical person, but I come out of the school of mystical naturalism, just to make that small detail. And if anything else could be added, is just that, see, a Gnostic tends to be somebody who looks down at the earth and negates nature and reality, whereas a Hermeticist is the opposite. So again, I would be more a Hermeticist, a mystical Hermeticist, rather than, say, a Gnostic or a normal dogmatic religious person who kind of thinks that the earth is the cage of the soul and the body is maybe the cage of the soul and all of that palaver. I don't subscribe to that at all. I think we're here for a big reason. Nature is one of our great teachers, like Pythagoras and these kinds of people mentioned that your own body has these proportions in it, like the phi ratio and all. So there's no reason in the wide world to be negating nature like they do in the East, or like Gnostics do, and think of it as a sort of a cage of the soul from which we finally escape, at death. So that would not be a good definition of it's sometimes used as a definition of mystics, and I think it's quite wrong.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
And he makes sense. That's what I like about this boy. He makes sense.
Yes. Well, let's do this, Michael. I'm going to have to take a real quick short break here. And
if people want to call in, make sure you give the number.
Yes.
They can ask questions of Michael.
And if you stay tuned, you're going to hear more of this from Michael Tsarion. And if you want to call in and say hello to him or ask a question, 425-373-5527 or 888-298-5569. This is the Psychic Spectrum Radio Show, and we'll return in just a moment. The Psychic Showcase is a weekly event that Sharon and Skip have been doing for 8 years in Fife at the Poodle Dog Restaurant. It's called the Psychic Showcase because we showcase some of the most talented speakers, readers, astrologers, and palmists on the West Coast. This is a weekly event, and it's every Wednesday evening. Come in early and get a psychic reading, an astrology reading, or a palmistry reading, or more from one of the most highly professional readers on our panel. You can order from the menu and have dinner and desserts before or during the event. The doors open at 5:30 p.m. for readings, and the program starts at 7. Admission is just $5 per person, and everyone who attends gets a free psychometry reading from someone on the panel. For more information on this and our other events, go to our website at psychicspectrum.com.
Giving local voices a chance to shine. Alternative Talk, 1150.
Okay, this is the Psychic Spectrum Radio Show on 1150 AM KKNW, and this is Skip and Sharon, and we are back with our special guest, Michael Tsarion. And those of you that know his works know him well, and those of you that don't know his works, you really should. And I'll give out that information in just a few minutes. I have some questions about Michael. What were you going to say, dear?
One of the favorite things he ever did when we had our store was he gave a lecture on the symbolism of like Coca-Cola and Chrysler. And all. That one just sticks in my mind. I love that stuff.
I know, and I was going to get into that a little bit later.
Okay.
But before,
I want to hear it again.
Well, yeah, we'd love to. But before I start that, I want to say something about Michael, how we met you and when we met you. And I have to say, you were in the Seattle area at the time, obviously, and you were trying to make connections with people, and so you could give talks, presentations, and educate people is the way I want to say it. But
you worry me when I don't know what you're going to say.
I know. She's going to worry. She's going to say, no, don't say that. But you scared me the first time you talked at our store. See, I worked for the government, the state of Washington.
Well, you did.
And it scared me. And it's like, oh, should I be letting people hear this kind of stuff? And the more I heard, the better I liked it. And I thought, no, people need to hear this. This is amazing, amazingly educational and inspirational.
And I said, let him talk because he's cute.
Yeah, she did. She did. And I like his accent. That's what she said.
I love his accent.
So, Michael, do you remember that your first talk at our store?
Oh, yeah, vividly. In fact, I liked the store. I wouldn't say because I've done lots of different venues, and they weren't even as good as your store. And that also, it was just a perfect space. And I think that don't forget that when a person's doing a speech, if you're smart at what you do, you judge the audience. I had lots of options to change the tack, but I knew that the people that you had there, were a good group of people who were very, very open to this. And then I could sense that, here's an area we could go down, not exclusively, but they definitely were open to it. This is not some group that was just a bunch of beginners. Knew their stuff. They knew their stuff really well. partly thanks to you and just their own studies. So I would never even, I would have done that unless I knew that they already knew about the subject matter, Yeah.
Oh,
that was great. It was so cool, though. I wish the ones listening could have been there because it was just cool.
And that's been our whole purpose ever since we started doing this, is to educate people that this is normal. There are other things to look into, other things to understand, and we need to be more aware of what's going on around us.
And they need to know that there's subliminal stuff that we never even knew was put out there that is affecting all of us.
Yes.
And he opens your eyes to that.
That's like your talk about the, I have the words here, the subversive symbolism.
Yeah.
And that's the talk you gave that Sharon was speaking about earlier. That was just so amazing to us, and I wish we could have heard more and more of your talks.
If I remember right, didn't you say Coca-Cola meant something and you didn't tell us what it was because you couldn't?
Yeah. I did that talk. The first time I was ever invited to Seattle, I did that talk at the Metaphysical Library there, and then. But see, they only give you an hour or 2 hours. That's a 6-hour presentation. So when we did it, it was a special event, and we did the whole thing, or close to the whole thing. And then I was able to get in and expand on that because, I used to like even driving down to Federal Way. They had a good veggie restaurant there. I'd go about an hour early, get my notes together, and then come by your shop. And it was a good venue, good crowd of people. It's all that people like me can ask for, because other bigger things, like, say, a conference, they only happen once a year anyway. So, and again, you get an hour, 50 minutes. I mean, a person like me cannot, no matter how much you compress it, get it in there. And then again, if your audience has already heard the choir before and is pressing for something new, then I'm your man, because I've got the new stuff. I don't just go over and reiterate the same old stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. Even when he was on Coast to Coast, I mean, there was a limited time, you just can't get all that stuff out.
And, Michael, we had comments from some of our audience that time's just too short. You have to do this over and over and bring this man back and give us more information about the different topics.
Yeah,
and,
we did.
We did, yeah. But they even wanted more, just like we did. And
that's right.
The Female Illuminati, is that your newest work? I know you're working on other things.
Yeah.
But, okay. And all of your works, people can find and read on... I know they're on Amazon, and they can read them on Kindle. They don't have to have any special format to read them in. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's dead easy. Just download the Kindle book. I don't do the hard copies right now because it's not feasible. And also, every year I make amendments to the book, and that includes pictures and new parts of the text, which is just impossible if you went with a hardback. So now they're all in electronic form, and they're up to date. I mean, I just did some even more updates within the last 4 months. So this is the perfect avenue for a person like me who has many books and is also trying to update them frequently. This is the only way to really go.
Oh, that's amazing.
So you could download them if you have that ability with Alexa.
Oh, yeah.
And then Alexa could read it to you, right?
It's easier than ever. Exactly. These people are not plugging in audio where you can even have it read to you. I mean, there's amazing, amazing thing.
The times are great, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really working.
And if people want to, I mean, they could download this and listen to it in their car, driving to and from work or on long vacations or drives or whatever.
Just keep your mind where you're going, because it's so fascinating. You might forget you're driving.
And I'll tell you, we have some of your books, the hardback copies, or the hard paper copies, I should say, and they are, once you start reading them, it's hard to stop putting them down. I mean, you have trouble with that.
We may have to, if Mike's schedule allows it, we might have to just do another series of lectures. Sometime, we could do that.
Do one on female Illuminati. That's a very interesting subject. I've got altogether it was 9 hours presentation. When we edited it, it came down to about 7. But it was a 7-hour presentation that we actually shot in Ireland, a live stream. Can you believe it? And it worked.
Wow.
It wasn't even a glitch.
Wow.
This was, in 14, late 15, and then it went up on the web, and it's on the unslaved.com website, which other people can go to. If they're interested in the presentations that you've been talking about, they can go to unslaved.com and see that. And the Female Illuminati is pretty recent, although again, all of my stuff, no matter when it comes out physically to the public, dates back to the 80s. Like you said, and when you read the bio there, I got started in the late 70s and 80s. Studying all of the weird ritual stuff. the satanic stuff. It comes out later with your stories of Jimmy Savile and everything. But do you know that I was onto those guys in the 70s?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I totally
And do you know
believe
how I
that.
was into it? It
No.
was pure intuition. And because you guys will understand this, but see, when you're going from pure feeling, energy, and intuition, nobody believes you.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I was saying to my closest friends, and they will admit this, as begrudgingly as they will admit it, that you were the one pointing out that these people were evil and satanic just when their ugly mugs came on the television in England and Ireland, and I would be able to say that guy's dark, that guy's dirty. And then it took till now. It took till the new millennium for these people to be exposed. And only people like yourself, you see, will go, hey, we understand what that's like. You can, read what's going on behind the mask, so to speak,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Within
And-
seconds, when you look at someone, you just know.
right.
Now,
Yeah.
Michael,
That's right.
your mother was a psychic, correct?
Well, yeah, she was, yeah.
Okay. Now, so when you say that you were pointing these things out, did you point these out by, was it intuition?
Yeah,
Or
intuitive.
was it your general knowledge of the mysticism behind things and the hidden hand?
No. The strange paradox of my life is back then I had no knowledge. I was as stupid as you can come. I had zero schooling.
Yeah.
I was very, very withdrawn,
Uh-huh.
and I would say no. Every single aspect of my life was on a sort of sixth sense to survive in the streets of Belfast, and then other conflicts that were taking place. The knowledge centers had been shut down probably since I was about 5 years old, and apart from the odd flicker here and there, it didn't come from books. It didn't come from school. It didn't come from long chats with your mates.
Yep.
I didn't have any mates, right? It was walking around in what other people would consider a daze,
Yeah.
but actually it was more like the right brain was activated,
Mhm.
and it was a journey of unspeakable difficulty to move to out of that, and then physically move to America where you're more accepted, and when you speak originally, people promote you and accept you rather than try to nail you to a tree and tar and feather you. In America they're interested in what you say, and so
Yeah.
my very first exposure there, which was at various conferences in the Bay Area and then moving up to Seattle, I got an overwhelming response, not just from the audience, but from mavericks like Michael Cremo and Richard Hoagland and Roger Lears. You guys all know this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was welcomed in. Lloyd Pye was especially interested in my work. Because it had that little Celtic tinge as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to debar me. I thought, who the hell's going to want to know about this? But as a matter of fact, I had a lot of missing pieces. I didn't know this at the time. But when I came off the stage, people were running over to and shake my hand going, you filled in these missing pieces. We've known about the paranormal in America for years, but
Yep.
we didn't have the glue that connected some of these parts, Michael. We love your work. And I just couldn't believe it. This was probably around about 2000,
Yeah.
moving into 2001 when I met you guys because I
Yeah.
moved to Seattle in 2000. So that's how it started. And then I heard about you guys. I don't know. I can't actually remember how you contacted me or how we actually met first. Did you come to one of the conferences or how did that work?
No, I
No.
remember it was
Yeah.
at a psychic fair here in the Seattle area, and one of our friends, mutual friends, Tom West, said, you got to come and
Yeah.
meet this guy. And I'm going, oh, yeah, I heard about his name. Okay. So he took us over, and we walked down the aisle. You were walking towards us, and he said,
Oh, he had on white pants and a white shirt and a colored. Yep. I will never forget. I was in love.
He introduced us, and from then on, it was total interest in what you said.
And Eric is shaking his head, but
Well,
honest
I'll
to
tell
God.
it was intuition as well. Then because I do remember it was the Boeing. I think it was
Yes.
connected to the Boeing group, wasn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Yeah, the Boeing Psychic Fair. That's what it was.
Yeah, now I
yes.
remember. And
Yeah.
I had a good time there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. And also, see, there's intuition working as well, because if anybody else but Tom had invited me, I wouldn't have been interested. But one look at him, and I knew he's solid to the core. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was intuition. I liked him immediately. Me being Irish, and
Oh, yeah.
him, it just nailed. I knew he was into mystical things, but he was also very down to earth, and
Oh, yeah.
and I liked his energy. And I said, I trust you. If you know some people, hey, here's my number. Let's go. And then he gave me his card, which I liked as well.
Yeah.
And so, I just go by intuition. And that was a time when I did that as well. It
Nice.
wasn't planned.
That's nice.
That's cool
That's
how it all
good.
comes together,
Hey,
isn't it?
Michael, we have a caller named Marie. She has a question for you. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Marie, welcome to the show. And how are
Hello.
you?
I'm great, and I love your show. Thank you so much. You guys are so earthy and so fun. I love listening to you too.
Wow,
Aw,
thank
thanks.
you. And I like
Yeah.
your accent.
Yes, Michael, I'm a fellow countryman, woman from County Clare.
Oh,
I love accents. You guys talk.
Yeah.
I love to listen. Go ahead.
So, I wanted to. So, can I ask Michael a question?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I have been. I just have been going through a lot of mental torture. I'm going to say, and I feel like I really need some clarity or some guidance at this point. If there's something you are maybe picking up for me, I would really appreciate some pointers, Michael.
well,
Thank
see,
you.
that's not really what I do. Skip and Sharon would be the ones to talk to there. I have done
Okay.
charts in the past when I had my system, but and I still do it for myself, but I have just no time anymore to even do charts for people. I haven't been able to see clients for over a year, and I got a whole list of the people backed up. But yeah, I would say definitely either get a chart from somebody reputable or talk to Skip and Sharon, and they can help you. And also, you can probably get brilliant referrals. I don't know if you know about them. You said you've been listening to their show, so definitely do that. See,
yeah.
I when I'm not actually professionally doing it, I don't like to give readings for the simple reason that you have to take a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work to do a chart in my system, so I don't like to offer the evidence
okay.
until we're really simpatico. And if I'm on the orange alert or red alert where I'm not doing readings, then I will simply not offer it because there's so much karma involved in giving you advice that might not be accurate or 100%. I'm very strict with myself as well. Skip and Sharon know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Michael's a purist. And when he's
Yes.
telling you something, he's telling you from the heart, and it's real, and it's exactly
It's
the way it
100%,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. But Marie, can I interject here?
Absolutely, Skip. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know your circle of friends. I don't know how you mix with people, and I have to say this tongue in cheek because I don't want to offend anybody else who's listening, but you need to draw closer to some friends. If you don't have friends that you think you can do that with, you need to look for new friends or start a new circle around you. And I know this sounds strange, but that's where you'll start. Just the start of gaining insight into where you want to go, what you want to be, what you want to do, how you want your
Makes
life to
total
run.
sense. Yeah.
And because I see you out there as a berg or alone, and with nobody to really that you can totally trust with everything, and so
Yeah.
I think that's the way you need to start. But I also think that there are people who would be interested in you, but I'm going to advise you need to be careful because there are people who will misuse a friendship. Okay? All right. Now, if you'd want to take Michael's advice, which I recommend for you, this is my psychic information, is that a chart would do you really good, but you need a chart that's comprehensive and covers not just who you are and what you have in your fourth house. You need a chart that can also tell you some information. And we do have a psychic who can do that.
A
A psychic astrologer, I should say, and he's excellent. He gave me my very first reading and changed my mind about this stuff. And
Well, I would love that information from you.
okay, if you go to our website,
Or
Yeah.
give Eric her phone number, or email. We could.
yeah, why don't we do that? Well, no, just go to our website, click on psychicspectrum.com, click on the contact us page,
Oh yeah, there you go.
and send us your information, and we'll send you all of Doug's information.
Okay, great. I will do that.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Skip.
Thanks for calling in, and thanks for the accent.
All right.
All right, all right. Take care. Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Quick question here. God, this hour's going so fast.
No.
We
got to do it again.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd do every week if we could. So what is symbolic literacy?
Oh, well, see, that's sort of connected to what we were saying. And also we were just talking with Maria about there. Astrology chart, which, by the way, people should be getting every year in the troubled times that we're in. We can only recommend that they get these charts regularly. You can get one for the year and then get your natal chart done and get it done regularly, because we're in such dark times right now that there is no hope unless you're working with your inner guides, right? And symbolic literacy is another approach to the same thing. So symbolic literacy is when the right brain, right? There's other words for that, like ancestral brain or the unconscious or the spirit world or whatever, right? There's different ways that this has been languaged through the years,
Right.
but I call it the inner oracle, and that inner oracle is just dying to help you through, what it is that you're going through, and basically has all the answers. But then the question about it is, then how do I get in contact with it? Because all modern education and all modern religion has dragged you out into the world, into the wrong direction, so that you just rely on the, frickin' experts or,
so
other
true.
manuals, which are just useless. You've got to tap into your own inner zodiac, your own inner. Actually, I have one of my articles. It's called the Inner Zodiac. People can go and read that, get a lot more clear on. And then there's also an article, by the way, on the Michael Tsarion site on symbolic literacy, and it's quite short and it tells you the whole story, so people can go there. But what it's all about is trying to get you in tune with your own inner oracle, which has all your answers. Now, numerology is directs you there. I would say that astrology does, but also just the more general appreciation and study of symbolism, right? In the way that, say, a Carl Jung and a Joseph Campbell. And if you're an artist, you already know what we're talking about. But a lot of people aren't. They've turned these things off.
Yep.
And for me, it's about getting back in touch with that. And one of the easiest ways and best ways, and I saw this with young children years ago, is to look at movies and watch the billboards and the ad copy, but in a different way.
Yes.
In a more deconstructive, critical way. So it involves a lot of things like that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he opened my eyes.
Yes.
When he did that talk.
Yep.
I mean, I saw things totally different.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And
they've saturated
Yeah.
our living space.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't think it, see, because it's in plain view. So symbol literacy is really to say, hey, it's hidden in plain sight. Let me show you how to, take off the veil.
Exactly.
And then notice how these towers are made, how the strip malls are, what the colors they're using. Even if it's right down on a menu at Denny's or whatever, all the way up to the golden arches on the McDonald's, which represents the sign of Aries, and all across the board. It's one of the most fascinating studies to get into.
I know. I want to do this talk again so bad.
I know. I know.
I mean, the things I heard then and the things I'll pick up now is
Well, okay, I have to stop here. We have another caller, and she has a call. It says, question for Michael, and her name is Crystal in Eastern Washington. Crystal, welcome to the show. And how are you?
Hi, I'm okay.
good.
I was calling to check and see if Michael was going to be lecturing at the Psychic Spectrum shows in the future.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
I would
dear.
love it. I
Bless
would
your
love it.
heart.
Maybe someday when he gets so unbusy. How about that, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do Female Illuminati more, and it is on the schedule, and it is in that area that I'd be doing it. So I'm invited all over the world. I mean, I just got another this week from the what's that? It's not the Sci-Fi channel; it's the Science channel, right? So every other day,
Yeah.
you're getting these invitations, and I turn them all down for specific reasons. But yeah, live talks, with you guys would be definitely something to look into. And even if I don't get to do that, David Whitehead and I, my colleague, we're thinking of doing more of in the way of webinars.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when we did that in the past, it worked really, really well. And Female Illuminati was really the last one we did. But I think I did a thing called Priesthood of the Illies by way of a webinar, internet conference type of effect, and that worked out really great as well. And that one went on for about 2.5 hours. So I've got so much stuff, that it's about picking the right subject.
Yes.
And so these things are definitely on the cards for the coming year or next year.
That
All
would
right,
be fun. We could do that.
We are going to talk, Michael.
We could have him on the big screen.
Or in person here too.
Oh, yeah.
You would only need 7-10 people. This is the beauty of it. You don't need to rent a hall. You can just do it from your own home.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. We do it all the time in a small way, and it's so convenient and effortless, really, at that point. And now there's ways to even share slideshows, and we've got the software for that. So, the sky's the limit, really, when it comes to the information.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking.
Well, Crystal, you remember Michael from when he was here in Seattle in the past, don't you?
Yes, and I can guarantee he should not underestimate what you're telling him about being very cautious about the people around him, because they have been a target for their predators, and they are connected to secret societies, and there are women involved.
Absolutely. Anytime that you're dealing with things that that knock or not knock, I should say, disagree with or show the other
show
side
enlightenment.
of them and their objectives and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some things that need to be watched out for. So, Michael, we will, like I said, we will talk. Crystal, thank you for calling in so much. I appreciate it.
Hope things are
Well,
going
thank
well
you.
for you.
Thank you for doing your work.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
All right, take care. Okay, Michael, I wanted to get into one other thing. Here's my paperwork. Oh, you've on your website, michaeltsarion.com, you have pretty close to 30 articles there. You've written 12 books, and I put down here in my notes that I know of 9. So, but that makes 12. So I need to check up on those more. You also made some decks of cards, didn't you?
No. The books are, there's like 9. It looks like there's 9 because they're double volumes. Two books I've read are actually in double volume, and then there's another one that's written now, but I'm just trying to let it consolidate. So I think it's about 11 or 12. But no, when it comes to decks, I've not. I've just relied on the decks that I used in the classes. I have, I've got the Mystery School, but I haven't really designed my own deck. I still use, the Rider-Waite and the Thoth deck and decks like that on the Mystery School, which is still operating.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about.
He's a busy man.
We've only got like about 7 minutes left here. So can you tell us about the Mystery School?
Yeah, it's very much appropriate because when we met, many of the classes I was doing were the Mystery School in person when I used to do that. You gave me the opportunity to come to the Psychic Spectrum to do basically at that time what was, well, a version anyway of what's online at taroscopes.com. That's my other website. So what we did was I have a system that unites, right, astrology with tarot, Kabbalah, and numerology. All 4 have lost connections. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And when you find out what those connections are, then all of them are benefited. Like all your knowledge about each of those subjects suddenly, is sort of upgraded. So I used to do those in the Seattle area. I did it in the Bay Area as well. But then when I moved to Seattle, then I started doing a series of those classes. And your venue was where we really, because I did it in Issaquah and Makeable Valley, and I think even in Kirkland and even in, like Ravenna area. Yeah. I did do it, but it was more concentrated. And I think there was a better, more intelligent crowd. We did that. Remember, we did that for the best part of a year or so.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did follow-up readings there at your place. So that was a big center for me at the time. That was the center, the hub, where we did those classes. But the Mystery School is still going at taroscopes.com. I've updated it and added a lot of information on the Tree of Life and the Kabbalah, which is new. If people haven't, is relatively new, and a whole other dimension as well. But again, the basic idea is that they all work together. There's a connection between tarot and Kabbalah. A lot of people speak about that, and they speak about some of these connections, but they usually get it wildly wrong because they're either not using the right decks, or they're using these what's known as exoteric systems, which are not really that wholesome. So it's been my life's work. The Mystery School went live in about 2000, maybe a little bit before that, and it's been going ever since. So it's really my longest public project is taroscopes.com, the Mystery School. And once we got that nailed, then I was able freed my time up to investigate other things. But that was the first and foremost, public platform that I had was astrology and tarot. So back in the Bay Area, and then when I moved to Seattle, we carried on. And of course, the trouble was that it was a 9/11. It was 2001, and so all hell broke loose.
Oh, it did.
And we all went in all crazy directions, and a very, very good opportunity got sort of smashed there. And then everyone had to sort of recover and find their own ground again. Which was a very, very difficult task, as you guys well know.
Right. Well, that's what I could say. That's one of the things that I liked about you was when you said something, you tied it in with other things. You related them to where they made sense.
Yeah.
And in no uncertain terms, there was no mystical words or it's things that left it up to the imagination. You actually showed proof. You tied things together and you made sense with it, and you made it apply to people's actual mental state, in their heart, what they felt about things, and you verified things and allowed people to bring themselves out.
And he talked in terms people understood.
Yes, very well.
Yeah.
And
I get criticisms, can you believe it? Because my books have too many footnotes and citations,
Oh
too
my
many
gosh.
references. Think of that.
yeah,
Wow.
I actually believe that.
Yeah.
I do.
But it's worth it. Keep on
Of course
doing
it is.
Keep on
Yeah,
doing
why
it.
not go to the experts? We all stand on the shoulders of giants, and
Yeah.
I like to refer back, back to these masters and to show even links, giving references to people so we can follow up on what you've been talking about, because I don't want a single person to believe anything I say without doing their own studies first.
That's smart.
Yeah,
That's smart.
Yeah, and I am just amazed at the works that you've done. You're like nobody I have ever found who has done this kind of research and applied it and explained it in, like Sharon says, in terms people understand and can use.
Yeah,
And-
and yeah, because they understand it, it makes sense.
Yeah, and
Sure.
I think that's why we kind of hit it off with you so well way back in 2001 was because that was what we were trying to do, is make psychic ability understandable, realize that everybody has this and they can use it. But you took it one step further and you showed them all these other things
We
that
took it
they can
several
look
steps
at.
further.
So yeah, several steps
Several
further.
steps further.
So people,
We just want you to know that we love you and we'll always support you.
You've already shown your colors, guys. I mean, I was in a very, very shaky position, not just because of the year, but because of other personal things and making the move from California. And I got my original invitations to do the conferences, but I wanted to feel more at home. Doing like you say, those are too short a format. And so when I was doing those talks at longer format, aren't I rehearsing myself? I'm honing. So I can't be anything today without those people who assisted me in the past to say hone it, because when I did my conferences and when I did these talks and presentations, then I'd hone it and I'd weed out the stuff that didn't make sense and say, or back that up with a better quote or whatever. So having that opportunity back then, I've always looked back very fondly to that, because without that opportunity, I don't think my work would have been as good, both online and even in my normal life and teaching life. You have to hone these skills because you're up against a lot of resistance to people who are not interested in this, haven't got their right brain open, don't work with their intuition.
That's right.
The obstacles are really against people like us when we try to go out there and open a new way for people, a path that is of spiritual alignment and attunement. It's not easy. You have the whole world against you.
You're right.
A good explanation.
I mean, been there, done that. I understand it completely.
Well, Michael, it has been amazingly fun. I'm sorry to have to say this, but we have like 3 minutes left to close out our show. And we will both want to thank you so much for coming and just talking with us today. But I do want to extend the invitation that when you're back in Seattle and you are freed up from all of your works, you have some time, if you would even like to do a live presentation, we would love to host the event for you.
Or just go out to dinner.
Thank you very much, guys. I
He
appreciate
hasn't
that
said the
immensely.
word love. You have to call me love yet. Say something with the word love.
Okay, love, I'll do that.
I
I'll
love
definitely
you.
bear that in mind.
So let's tell our listeners one more time, they can get a hold of you through michaeltsarion.com and also at mtsar.com. Did I say it right?
It's the same website. It's just for short.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And all of
And
your
check
works
out
are there.
The,
They can
the
fi-
mystery school.
The Mystery School. They can find your works on Amazon, and they can read them. Your presentations are on unslaved.com.
Yeah.
Check them out, people. Download them
Yeah.
and listen. You'll be
Yeah.
amazed.
All right, Michael, seriously, thank you. Once again, from the bottom of our hearts, we mean that. And let us know when we can get together.
You bet it.
I
Okay,
love you,
guys.
Guy.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to talk with you. And again,
Okay.
all the best for the future.
Oh, the
All
same
right.
to you. Same to you.
Have a good day, what's left of it.
Cheers. And thanks to the callers, too.
Oh,
All right,
yes, thank you. Okay,
have
bye-bye.
a good day. Love you.
All right, that guy is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to quickly answer Julia's question.
Oh, yeah.
Because we told her we'd answer it on the air. Julia said that she influences a lot of kids each day, and she wants to know if she's doing the right thing for them. And Julia, we did not sit down and prepare an answer because we wanted it to come
From source.
From source, something that we, just connect with and get our psychic information from. So here's my answer to you is that if you're working with kids and you're working in the right way from the heart and for their betterment as well, yes, you're doing the right thing. But I'm going to tell you this, that don't ever question what you do with the kids. Question the fact that are they getting the message? And are you making the impact you want to make on them? Because I'll tell you that there are several kids that I can pick up with or on that you've already influenced them so that later in life will make a big difference for them. And they've learned things from you that they will take and apply to other situations. So I hope that helps. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I totally agree with what you're saying, but I don't think she needs to question herself. She may not see the results of her works right now, but like you said, she's already has instilled the positive vibes or instincts that she needs to do for these children to go on and be creative adults.
Okay, and with that, we will say to you, thank you to our sponsor, Ginger's Pet Rescue. Go to gingerspetrescue.org. Our website is psychicspectrum.com, and as our theme song says,
what a wonderful world. Love you, Daddy.